Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Mob, and today we are going to do a tier list video of every single Terraria boss and some of the mini bosses. This is the first time that I'm doing one of these sort of tier lists. I actually went to the website and I made my own here, 32 bosses. So I grabbed a bunch, put them all together, and we're gonna rank them from A all the way to F and Super S rank. So this is going to be very interesting. I don't know exactly where things are going to go and how, in fact, are we going to sort them out. Well, it's got to be, of course, the cool art design, the design of the boss battle itself, how much of a pain it is to fight the boss in general, I suppose, and of course the drops. So let's freaking get started. Let's go. How about from pre-hard mode to hard mode? So we'll get to like the late game stuff later. So let's begin, and I have this boss list up here just in case, so I know which order we want to go through. So first thing is King Slime. Okay, so King Slime, it's probably the first boss you're usually gonna fight besides Eye of Cthulhu, right? And for me personally, it is a pretty good novice fight. It's not too hard. All he does is jump around, which is pretty easy, but then if you play on expert mode, he summons lots of spiky minions and stuff. The loot that he drops is really amazing. You get like throwing armor sets, you get really huge amounts of gel, and my favorite is the saddle. So this boss is actually pretty cool, and it's a fun fight, especially if you're new to the game. I'm gonna give a C rank. Nothing too special, but he's not bad. So that is the ranked for the King Slime. Oh, and by the way, guys, I want you guys to let me know your ranks as well. It can be as easy as just typing all the bosses' names down and give for instance, maybe you like King Slime more, you put King Slime space a B, and then you keep going down below. It's gonna be fun to figure out what you guys like as well. So that's it for the King Slime Arena. Next up is gonna be the Eye of Cthulhu. Like I just mentioned, it's probably going to be the next boss that you face right after Slime. And one of my favorite things about this boss is the item that it drops. One of the best ones. I think it's only available in hard mode as well. I haven't played normal mode in such a long time. I've played this game for so many hundreds of hours that going to normal mode, unless there's some exclusive reason, it doesn't feel the same. So I'm gonna forget what's in normal and what's in regular hard mode. So let's get started. The eyeball, I'm gonna put it here for now so we can look at it. Ooh, I guess not. So the Eye of Cthulhu, giant eyeball, very cool design. The fight itself, it's okay, besides the King Slime, from what you will probably experience. This boss is huge, it's giant, it flies around. This one kind of forces you to maybe use an arena, because the boss likes to go up and down, and if it goes super crazy down, it kind of goes through the floor, and it's a little hard to attack. And then when you get to its second form, he jumps into the giant mouth of an eye, and then he goes all over the place and attacks you. It's not the hardest fight. Once you get the pattern down, it's okay, but overall I think it's an okay boss. Like King Slime and Eye of Cthulhu, you're gonna be fighting them really close together for the most part, and I like the King Slime's art and fight more than the Eye of Cthulhu, but the Eye of Cthulhu's items that you get out of it, it's pretty cool too. So I'm gonna drop it at a C again. Sorry, I'm gonna drop it at a C. Next up, it's gonna be the Eater of Worlds. It's a boss that you can only fight if the world you are in is a corruption world, and this is the first boss that you're gonna fight that actually has multiple parts of it, where you just throw a bomb at it, and depending on where it lands, you can hit 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 to 5 different body parts if they cross each other. The items that he drops are pretty okay. I think the expert one is that defensive item, which gives you like 17% damage reduction. So the items that it drops doesn't really stand out in my mind, but the fight is actually pretty fun. It makes you feel really strong, because it's a worm. You gotta wait for it to attack. It jumps all the way down. In hard mode, expert, it shoots out projectiles and stuff. So it's a really fun boss fight. I think it's cool. Not gonna lie, I like it a lot. It's just a fun fight to farm as well, and the way that you summon it is cool. If it doesn't show up randomly, you have to destroy the orbs down under. And like I said, I'm coming from the perspective oh man, this is the first time I'm fighting this type of boss. Dang, it's a giant worm. It's not like Cthulhu and the slime where you just see him. It's the freaking goes all over the place. It's nuts. So yep, that's a B for the first worm design. And I know, surprising, because we've been playing so many mods recently that a lot of them tend to copy the worm format, but this is like a cool worm boss. Next up, it's going to be the Brain of Cthulhu, the opposite of the Eater of Worlds. Instead of having a corruption in your world, you have a crimson in your world, and this is the boss. So it's very different than this. It's not a worm boss, and you usually have your own arena to fight it in. Instead of blowing up those orbs, you blow up hearts. So you spawn the boss, and this is a boss that I really like. This is the only thing out of, these 3 bosses so far where he's a little dangerous, because he does have a lot of trickster abilities where he likes to teleport to one area where he goes to like 4 different zones. You got to shoot the correct one, looking at how opaque it is. So this is a fun fight as well. The design is neat. I don't remember too much of the drops, but I'm going to give it a B. I think it just fits right in here. Like, this is a fun fight, makes you feel powerful. This is definitely more of a challenging fight for novices, but it is also really cool. So there you go. Brain of Cthulhu gets a cool B from me. Next up, Queen Bee. Oh man, one of my favorite bosses in Terraria. I know exactly where I'm going to put it, but here's my thought process. First of all, it's a gigantic bee. It's a very, very cool looking boss. And she also drops some really amazing items. You get the honey, you can get the bee armor set, which increases summoning. You also get bee nades, which is one of the best early game items to defeat the wall of flesh. It is so good, and for those of you who are longtime followers of me, know my favorite summon drops from her, which is Jerry the bee. We named him. Damn, I'm not wearing my shirt today. I have a Jerry bee, which I ride the shirt. I ride him on the shirt. It's pretty legit. So, no brainer, man. No brainer. It goes into an A for me, because it's also a fun fight as well. You can summon her into the, in her beehive, and you have to find it. The first time you see it, you explore the jungle, you see the beehive, you're like, oh, this is so cool. What is this? Oh, honey? Ooh, I get a buff when I'm in it. What's this? I'm going to destroy this. Oh, crap. Oh, I'm slowed down from the honey. Let me get out of there. It's freaking nuts. I like it. Queen Bee gets an A. Next up, Skeletron. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, so I'm going to talk through it. Skeletron, first of all, you got to find him at night. You got to go to the dungeon. You have to talk to the clothier, or the old, what's the name of the guy here? Old man NPC. He becomes the clothier later. At night, 7:30 p.m. in the game, and boom, Skeletron. This is a pretty difficult boss if you're not prepared. He does a lot of damage, and he's just floaty, and overall attacks you like crazy. It's not like the greatest fight. I don't remember too many items that it drops. I think it drops some like throwing bone stuff. But yeah, it's an okay fight. You do have to go out of your way, and if you fail the fight, you have to wait till the next night when he respawns to do it again. And also, you all know the Easter egg. If you jump into the dungeon without, finishing this fight, you get attacked by the dungeon guardian, whose head is essentially just a Skeletron. But I don't really care too much for this fight. I think this might be the first one where I'm going to give it a D. It's not the worst, but I'm like, it's just something that prevents me from going into the dungeon. I'm not too excited to fight it. It takes a long time. And it's just like, it's meh. Personally, for me, Skeletron is a D. Next up, our last pre-hard mode boss, the Wall of Flesh. Go down to the underground. You drop a voodoo doll by getting it from a random demon. And, how about those times where you destroy the demon and it accidentally falls into the lava, and then you just fight the guy? And then you have to know the tips and tricks for fighting it. You have to build a nice arena, and depending on how far you are left or right in the world, and if you drop it, that's the side it will come chase you. So there is a little bit of knowledge involved and a little bit of farming involved. But this boss is unlike anything other. It forces you to keep moving no matter what, unless you kill it really quick, and it drops you into hard mode. It is a very cool fight, and it gives you so many good items, and there is a good reason to keep farming it, because it drops like those emblems. So this fight is cool. It's a progression milestone, really amazing. This is a no-brainer, S rank. This is a really good, well-designed boss, and it's memorable. It's so memorable. People to this very day, I'm streaming, hey Mobby, what do you got for me? How do I kill the Wall of Flesh? I always go, get the good arena, and get B-nades, unless you're doing a challenge. So yeah, there you go. Wall of Flesh, easy S rank. That's a really fun fight. And the items are cool too. Alright, next up, I guess our first hard mode bosses, the twins! Oh man, you know what? I did give Eye of Cthulhu a C, but for me, fighting the twins, it's a mixed bag. It's a love-hate thing. Pretty much, as soon as you enter hard mode, for the most part, playing vanilla, you're going to want to farm some new weapons, some new armors, and maybe some potions, and who knows, maybe you got to build even another arena. You're going to be ending up fighting the twins and or the Destroyer of Worlds first, usually. And I would say definitely this boss is harder than the Destroyer of Worlds from my experience, from my skill set. And it's okay. It does drop some really good items. But overall, whenever I fight this boss, I always dread it. It's kind of a chore, and I don't really like the design. I feel like it's just a Cthulhu eye, but two of them. So the design, from an art standpoint, it's whatever. It is cool that a Retinator and Spazinator, is that their name? I forgot their freaking names. The Retinator and Spasmatism. Spasmatism. I always call them Spasmatas. I just don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna give it an E. It feels like an almost recycled boss, just like a little buffed up, which is cool, but it's like, no, it's okay. I would, with the game with so little bosses, but it's known for its bosses, I feel like they could have done more with that one. Next up, it's the Destroyer. I mentioned it just right now. It's going to be another one of those wormy bosses. This is the second worm boss, and it kind of mimics the same thing as the Eye of Cthulhu argument for me, even though it is much more fun to fight. It's almost a reskin, just with a bunch more hard difficulty. It does get crazy though, because whenever you attack it, you got to get piercing weapons. B-nades will work well as well. And it's okay, but I'm going to give this one a D just because reskinning bosses, it's a little tough for me to be all like, this is insane. Like, nothing in this game is ever like this. The Wall of Flesh, where it forces you to move. Everything else, you can somewhat stay in the same place. So yeah. Unfortunately, Destroyer, it is a D for me. Alright, next up, Skeletron Prime. Man, another one with the reskin. Seriously, they could have done so much. But yeah, it's another one for me. But this one is it's a pain in the fight. It's a pain to also fight. Out of these three Destroyer, out of the three mechanical bosses, this one is at least somewhat fun. Well, these ones, it's like, I feel like I'm just getting through the motions here so I can get the hollowed bars and stuff. So I don't like it that much. It's also a super almost reskin. Like this change here, I think it's okay. But this one, come on, give them legs. No, but seriously, I think the Eye of Cthulhu and the twins are the most laziest of the designs. But yeah, it's just a little bit of a harder fight. Yeah, the mechanical bosses are just whatever to me. Plantera, ooh, now we get into some really fun fights. Plantera, you can fight the boss in the jungle or out of the jungle. For those of you who don't know, if you fight her out of the jungle, extra speed and just wrecks you if you're not prepared. It's one of those bosses where you have to go to the underground jungle and you have to find the bulb and fight it yourself. It is an interesting fight because you see the bulb and you're like, all right, this is Plantera. Like, if you're playing multiplayer, you go, I found it, boys, are you ready? And I was like, no, we gotta make potions, we gotta make an arena, we gotta make sure we're all good. So it's a boss that you know that as soon as you break it, it's do or die. If you lose and there's not a bulb near you, you're gonna have to find it somewhere else and build another arena. It's a boss with actual stakes, and it gives you some really cool items. It's a fun design, nothing like it in the game. This is clearly another A for me. It's a fun one. It makes you feel like, this is it. Okay, we're going to prepare for this boss. We're going to prepare like crazy. And you can be away from your house to do it. So that's a good one. Plantera, easy A. Easy A. The golem fight. Okay, so I do like the lizard temple. Going all the way through it to fight a boss by putting the lizard solar thing into the thing to fight it. It's okay. It's not too memorable. It's kind of an easy fight, and from what I've heard, imagine if you're watching this episode later, but they are gonna change up the golem fight to make it more harder or at least different. Right now, it's pretty easy. It's a farming boss. Nothing too fancy there. The design is cool, but other than that, the fight, it's not that great for me. It's a very, very average boss for me. Next up, Duke Fishron. Man, everyone loves the Duke. This is our first ocean boss, and I like the way that you have to go about summoning it. Now, I do not know, or sorry, I don't remember how you learn how to fight this guy, how to summon the boss. We all know you have to go to an underground mushroom biome. You have to find the worm, you have to go to the ocean, and you have to use a fishing rod. But without people to tell you, or the internet, I don't remember how you figure that out in the game. Maybe the guide gives you a hint, because I really don't remember. But this is a boss that where it's like, it's kind of like Plantera, where you have to go out of your way. You can make an arena, but it has to be far away from your home and NPCs, unless you put them all there, of course. But assuming you have a home base in the middle of the game, you have to go all the way to the ocean, and then you have to just fight it there. And if you lose, man, you gotta travel all the way back there. You can use a teleporter though. You can use a minecart thing. But it's another boss that just, it's crazy over there. And you can give yourself an extra challenge by fighting him out of the water, out of the ocean biome, because just like Plantera, he goes crazy nuts. So this boss is probably one of my most favorites in terms of how you fight it, how you summon it, and how the fight goes. He gets really crazy when his HP starts going lower. The fight gets insane crazy, and the freaking feeling that you get when you beat him with like less than okay equipment and items, ooh, it's so good. So this is a pretty fun fight. Like, this goes from B to an A just because the fight is so fun for me, and the items are freaking amazing. All right, next up, it's going to be the Lunatic Cultists. A lot of people tend to overlook this boss because he's pretty much a stepping stone. You kill him, and then you fight the pillars, and then you fight Moonlord. It's kind of like endgame right away. He's almost like a mid-boss before Moonlord. But if you look at his actual attacks and patterns, it's not too bad, but it's pretty forgettable because you're like, God, I gotta do these pillars, and then bang, Moonlord right away, whoa! So Lunatic does give you an okay amount of items. It's a cool sprite, very humanoid-like, with a nice, it kind of looks like a witch doctor's face. But overall, I wish it was more spread out between like things, because as soon as you kill him, you're forced into the pillar fights. So, and the only way to farm him legitly is to wait for he comes back, kill him, but then you gotta do the pillars again and all that stuff. So fighting him, it's whatever, it's forgettable. Some of the items are okay. Refarming him is a nightmare. I just don't like it. Unfortunately, it goes E just because it didn't get enough like spotlight. I wish they would have done more with it. It's just, I hate fighting it because it's like, once I kill him, great, I gotta do the pillars to get it out of my world. Next up, Moonlord. Oh my god, Moonlord. Yo, I'm telling you now, it's gonna be an S or an A. At the moment of recording, before Master Mode comes out, Journey's End, this is pretty much the final boss of vanilla Terraria. And the way you summon it, as I just mentioned, Lunatic Cultists, you defeat all of the pillars, and then you go straight into this fight. You barely have some time to prepare, and then you jump in, and it is nuts. It has one of the best, has all of the best items in the game. It has a good reason to refarm it, so you get more ores to make everything. So this boss has good replayability on his fight. It's an epic fight. His huge body is like on the background, and the foreground is his like eyeballs and everything. It's an easy, crazy fight, and I think it fits right up there with Wall of Flesh. I like how this is the last boss of pre-hard mode, and this is the last boss of hard mode. Who knows? We will probably redo this list once the new update comes out and we can see the new bosses. But now that we've put all of the major bosses, we have tons of mini bosses and other things to check out here. So let's do the pillars, shall we? Which are the... Okay, let's see. Other celestial towers. Here we go. All right, pillars. So let's look at the Vortex one. This one summons a lot of these enemies here. And I guess we'll have to rank these on how fun is the battles. Do you get good items from it? This one is okay. I would say Vortex Pillar is just right down the line in terms of fun and difficulty. It's nothing too crazy. I can usually do it in one go without dying. And yeah, it's not too bad. It's like really middle down the line. So this one's okay. Next up, it's going to be Stardust. I feel like this one's the easiest one. There's tons of star cells that go by that's just easy to just destroy. So this is an easier one, but you know, it's nothing too bad too. This one also gets a C. The Nebula, this one's pretty annoying. Even though it has like less enemies than like the past two, they're so annoying, especially when the brain suckler jumps on you. Yeah, this one's just not that fun to fight. Oh man, and then of course the solar one, arguably the hardest one. Tons of different enemies. The Crawltipede, if you don't know how this works, if you're in the vicinity for fighting the solar pillar, you're in the air, it spawns a Crawltipede and it does so much damage if it touches you. This is a difficult but fun fight. So I put this at a B. Huh, yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. All right, next up are going to be the event bosses. This is probably one of the last things they've added besides Master Mode, huh? Like the old one's army things. So Dark Mage, you can fight him as soon as you're able to in pre-hard mode. He gets summoned on like what, the 5th, 6th, or 7th wave of the old one's army. He's okay. However, even if you do farm it over and over, you don't really get to see his patterns or anything like that because it's more like a wave boss. So he doesn't have time to shine. So I'm gonna give him like an E. I don't really care for it, unfortunately. Even though I have killed him the most out of all of it, he almost seems like just a regular crappy enemy. The Ogre. The Ogre is almost just like the Dark Mage, but he gets way more points for being like having a really giant sprite. But just like the Dark Mage, it's in the middle of an event. It's hard to see him, but he does drop better items, and I like his design, so we get one more up from him. Next up, it's Betsy. Oh yeah, the biggest baddie of the old one's army, tier 3. Now that is a boss fight. Really cool boss. Love it. It's a great addition. This one jumps up. One of these. I would say a B, because you have to go out of your way to like farm those things to fight it. But that's it. It's a good B design. Next up is the Flying Dutchman during the pirate events. It's actually a pretty awesome like mini boss. It's huge. It flies in the air. It makes sense why it's flying, why it's floating in the air. I like it, and it's a good farming thing. The pirate event is actually pretty neat, so I like it. I'm gonna put it in the B section here. Next up, it's going to be the Morning Wood. Oh man, the freaking Pumpkin Moon. The Pumpkin Moon, you know, the first time you fight it, he's really tough, but then once you get better items, he starts being just like a regular enemy. So he's okay. I'm not gonna drop it as a D, even though he does drop really good items. He even gives you like the new kind of wood, so that's cool. Next up, Pumpkin. Ooh, the reason why you want to do the pumpkin event. See how far you can get, how many waves you can get. And remember, the more farther you get, how faster you can do this, the more they pop up. So he's really iconic for the Pumpkin Moon event. Just having like 10s and 20s just throwing at you. You play multiplayer, how many can you kill together? How many waves can you go? This is a fun boss to fight. He goes in B as well. And we have the Everscream. It's another one of those mini bosses from an event, and this is the Frost Moon event. It's forgettable. The first time you see it's cool. Its design is actually pretty nice. I'm going to put it in the D section though. It just turns into a regular enemy after a while. It doesn't even feel like a mini boss because you see so many of them. It's like whatever, right? Next up is Santa. A little bit better than him. He does drop some cool items, but ultimately he goes in D again. It just feels like you know, the ultimate goal for the most part in these events is to get to the pumpkin or the Frost Moon Queen. These guys just get in the way. They become bullet sponges. It's whatever. Drop them right there. Ice Queen. Same thing. You want to see how many you can kill. It's fun to see what they drop. It's the reason why you want to do this. Jumps into B. It's a really difficult boss. I would definitely say out of these two though, I prefer like the design and fight of this boss. This one's whatever. But Pumpkin is badass. Next, Marsh and Saucer from the Martian event. Interestingly enough, even though there is a alien invasion, you don't really do too much, you know, in the sky and stuff. So this is like the only chance you get. But then you fight at night. I mean, you don't fight at night. You fight on the ground. But you have to go to the sky to get that NPC to spawn to fight it. It's okay. It just reminds me of like a Thorium boss or something like that. So for design, it's whatever. Even though this is like pretty much the boss of the invasion, he's boring. He does drop cool items though, so I'll give it this. He does drop one of my favorite swords in the game, which is the Influx Waver. That's one of my favorite just in terms of design. It doesn't matter how powerful it is. It looks cool, has projectiles, and design is pretty sweet, so I'm going to bump it up. I was going to put it to a D, but I'll bump it up to a C. And we get the pillars. We already did the pillars. And then next up is Okra. I never played the 3DS one, so I can't really say how fun the fight is. But if we go on design, purely these last ones are just on design. I never fought these ones. Okay, so this one kind of looks like a Brain of Cthulu. And if we look at the design here, it looks pretty cool. I don't know where to put these. I'm just going to go with design. This one looks pretty cool. I'll put it here. Next up is the Lepus, which is suspicious looking egg. During Easter. Oh, it's an event. It's an event thing, huh? Easter. It's just a giant bunny. And then a turkey. It's just a turkey. I don't really care for those. Okay, so this is my boss rank. And yeah, it actually, dang it. This is how it should be, you know. Only a little bit towards the top, a lot in the middle, and then it slowly just goes down here in the end. So that's 32 different enemies slash bosses that we put on here. Let me know what your guys' tier list is down below. Do you agree with me? I know a lot of it is biased, but I am definitely trying to give you my thought reasoning. I want to put so many different like things on it, like how cool does it look, how hard is it to fight, replayability, etc. So I think I put the mechanical bosses in the correct place for me. They were just a little lazy. So that's it. If you guys have any ideas, by the way, for different types of rank videos I can do, please let me know. I would love to check it out, like maybe all of Calamity bosses. Maybe we rank every single armor piece in the game, equipment. So I'm gonna leave this one up. We'll see how it does. And if you guys want more, we'll definitely do more. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. God, how long was the video? 26 minutes. Make sure to subscribe to my secondary YouTube channel. That's where my Let's Plays are going right now for Terraria and more. And come to the Twitch. There's a link down below. That's where all the content is coming from. So thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.